All right. Good morning. Glad to be back. Been a while. As I joked with Rick on the radio, take it easy on me. I'm 45 minutes into being out of the office for a little while. So if y'all have any questions, and there might be stuff I might need to go chase down for you. But got back from Barcelona, get to see American Magic and meeting with team ownership and team leadership, which was a great experience. Got to walk through their facility there, which is temporary. It's been there for about a year and a half, but probably the closest apples to apples example of what the permanent location would look like. As a matter of fact, even as we were walking through on the base tour, they were showing us different pieces of equipment, some of the mezzanine equipment, things like that, some of the structural stuff that they're actually going to be bringing back to Pensacola when they're done, hopefully with a trophy in hand in October. So anyway, so that was a great opportunity. They have 160 people over there working, and they were there was lightning today, they were going to be racing today. So anyway, I really enjoyed that experience, and first opportunity to see all of those folks together in one place in well over a year. So we've had meetings with them, but it was a good chance to catch up and talk about the project here at the port. So the update on New Palafox, the newpalafox.com comment form, I think we're over 100 comments submitted. We're very appreciative of that. Obviously, some with critique, some with suggestions, some with a lot of enthusiasm about changes anywhere you want to be on the spectrum, from don't take a parking spot all the way to shut the entire street down and everything in between. So that's exactly what public input is for. We've got all of that listed. That continues to be available. I don't think we've set a final date, but it should be upcoming. Obviously, we're not going to keep that open for a significantly long time. We got to get going on design. So, but we still encourage people. It's not done yet. So the newpalafox.com has that comment form. Let us know what you think. When you got all the plans up there, you can look at it, or the conceptual plans. The next steps on the budget, obviously we've got a budget hearing tomorrow at 5:30, and then we have another one Wednesday, September 11th at 5:30 in council chambers. And obviously that's just to hear from the public on the budget. And also we're right now shooting for the entire Bruce Beach opening October 12th, 9:30 a.m. It'll be a big day. Down in Maritime Park in Bruce Beach. That's, of course, the FSU-Auburn game is at noon, or the two games that they're going to play the baseball, Maritime Park. So we'll do that at 9:30. More details to come, on, we'll make sure we communicate, where people can park and all of those types of things. But obviously, we always hold the asterisk of weather permitting. It is September, so we'll keep our fingers crossed through this month. But that is the plan right now, would be that morning before the baseball game. So to open the entire park, phase 1 and phase 2. We had another mayor's cleanup, kind of the Bay Woods to Summit Boulevard Scenic Highway, Spanish Trail area. 33 tons of trash, 312 gallons of paint, and 25 tires were collected. And then lastly, just a cool story out of that, it's something that you guys have reported on that was tragic, and kind of a cool story internally was there was the hit and run accident on Creighton Road in front of the Walmart, and a pedestrian's wheelchair was trying to cross the road, and eyewitnesses were able to give a description of the vehicle, and then once that description went out, we actually had a City of Pensacola, Johnnie, Deboe, a City of Pensacola employee, saw the news reports that evening, and then was out working and discovered a vehicle matching the description, that it had the front end damage. So we've got people out on the streets all the time, asking them to say something if they see it. So this is one of those cases where one of our employees saw the damage of the vehicle, and that was identified correctly, and was able to make huge progress in that case, and of a tragedy of someone getting hit in a wheelchair in the city. So huge kudos to our team. We're a strong team of 800 plus, but certainly very appreciative for for Johnnie and for all the folks that are out there, where may not be as something as front facing as that, but just we have people out there every day, morning, noon, and night, that are looking after their neighbors, making sure the our places look the way that they should look. And sometimes you don't hear about that in the headlines. So this is one of those examples where those two things have merged. An unfortunate, tragic situation, and one of our city employees stepping up. So certainly wanted to mention that and give Johnnie and the team recognition on making positive impact in our city. So that is all I have, and happy to take your questions.
Okay, I'll go first.
Come on in.
Could you give us an update on the situation with ST Engineering, at your communication with them regarding the jobs, the hiring, and any action they've taken?
Yeah, I've got a meeting Thursday morning with staff here. So I'll have to look, there's a large roster, but some in person, some on Zoom, depending. Obviously, there's offices everywhere. I've been out, and the goal was to do something the week of September 1st, and that's what we're doing. So that means I'll know a lot more the next time I see you guys in here. But the initial meeting will be Thursday morning. Were you guys on break too?
We just checked out for a moment.
That's right.
A couple people in the newsroom were talking about the downtown post office.
Yes.
And you've been trying to help secure a site. Any progress there? Any ideas?
Yeah, so they post office notified me a couple days before they sent those notices out, so I was aware and appreciate the heads up. And I've had a couple of conversations intermittently with the post office. You remember way back when we had reached out proactively to say, hey, let us try to be helpful. So we had a conversation about one potential site where they would need some very minor, help with a loading zone type of thing to be able to get mail onto the truck, where there's some city right away. And of course, we looked at it and we told them, that's something that we would be happy to accommodate, because we understand the value of having that post office downtown, and how that helps our small businesses. How it helps our citizens who live downtown or work downtown, and can, it's much more convenient for that. So I think we all want to see the post office stay, and the city's going to do everything within reason to help accommodate that. And that's what we've done so far. And of course, now the federal government's got to do their thing and figure out what location they want to be at and what works. So we're really not part of that conversation, but we answer the phone when they call us, and we will make sure that we do everything we can to accommodate a downtown post office. We want one here. We know the value of it, and we'll continue to work with them anytime they call. Yeah.
Mayor, could you give us an update on the LTU review that the city's been doing? You've got an LTU request coming up in front of the planning board here next week. The hotel in South Palafox.
Are you LTUs specific to parking, or are you talking about just the
awnings for the outdoor seating?
Yeah. So there's lots of different LTU. There's an awning, there's balconies, there's seating, there's parking, right? So and to your point, that's why we look at all of those things to try to kind of get some uniformity. As an example, we've started moving all parking LTU requests out of planning into parking. That seems to make more sense. That parking's going to have a better handle of what the value of those spaces are and how they're used. So that is still in progress. I will say on the sidewalks, really specific to Palafox, we've had a meeting with all the Palafox business owners, talking about some of the changes that should be expected in the coming months and years. Right now, what we talked about, we charge $500 no matter the size of the sidewalk, whether you have 100 feet of frontage or you've got 25 feet of frontage. Everybody pays the same. That doesn't seem to be, equitable, because one has 20 tables, one has 2 tables, as an example. So, we're looking at a new format by square footage there, and we're looking at ways to make sure that those things are also honored and paid and up to date, and so we're doing a lot of overhaul there. I don't know that I would be saying mission accomplished yet, but we continue to be aggressive about we want those things. I mean, an awning and creating shade is a good thing. Creating value is great. So it's not in any way born out of an indictment of not wanting to do these things. I think they're great for vibrancy, providing parking to help investment happen. We just got to make sure it's equitable. It can't be 18 spaces downtown for $250 a year, which is some of the things that we have on the book. So, our planning staff has worked diligently on that. Our parking staff has worked diligently on that. So, it depends on what LT you're talking about, Johnny, because some are a little further than others, but we haven't dropped the concern or priority on it. We continue to move those things forward.
Mayor, I just wanted to ask you about your trip to Barcelona and seeing the American Magic team. Did you get a chance to see them compete? And what do you think the chances are of them bringing back a regatta? I
joked with Rick on the radio today. I was like, I feel like a sports writer again. I'm back in the handicapping and opining. I think first of all, the first reaction I have is when you think you understand how advanced this team is, it blows you away every time you're there. I mean, the number of people working on on the sail for the next day. There's 7 people working there all night. On just the one aspect of this boat. So it's really cool to think about that's going to be happening here. And as we're walking through, they're saying, "Hey, see this 3D printer? This is coming to Pensacola. See this, all of this, millions of dollars of technology. This is what we're going to be doing every day in the city." So that was really cool. What it looks like right now is, they're in this round robin stage where one team gets eliminated. That the team that does the worst, they're in American Magic so far. The first time through is in kind of the middle of the pack. I think they'll make it through that, and then it'll be 4 teams left playing as almost tournament style. First to 5 wins. For both sides of that semifinal, then first to 5 wins with the challenger final, and then the winner takes on New Zealand. So New Zealand's strong, Italy is very strong. I don't think they've lost a round robin race yet. So it looks like they'll be the top seed. They'll get to pick who they get to go against in the semifinal. So if I were opining, it's starting to shape up that U.S. would take on Great Britain in the challenger semifinal in September. But look, I think when you look at the technology that they have, I mean, you're 1 millisecond away. One of the losses that the U.S. had was just one quick tactical error at the start of a race, and then they were the by far better team against Great Britain. They were down 1,000 meters, and they ended up losing by 150 meters. They were the better team, but all it takes is one slip up, and that works both ways. And so, I think the American Magic team is in that A tier, alongside New Zealand and Italy. I think that looks like the 3 best teams, and we'll be rooting hard for them. That's for sure. I mean, it's just what the impact that would be for the United States, for the city of Pensacola, I know they're working their tails off, and it's incredible to see. But when I say, Jim, things can change on a dime, and while we were there, New Zealand had their boat on a crane and dropped it. And if it had landed the wrong way, they may be out of the race. I mean, you never know what can happen. And so I think they're doing great, and we'll just, we'll see if they can improve and stay consistent. And, like any sport, man, anything can happen. And but we'll definitely be rooting them on. And I've been encouraging all our Pensacolians, get a cup of coffee and you can wake up on watching ESPN Plus every morning, pretty much for the next several weeks. So they'll probably end up racing. They'll probably race twice tomorrow. It looks like, because they weren't able to get in because of lightning today.
Mayor, that logo of Pensacola on the sail is very impressive across a global audience.
Yeah.
Did you have a chance in Barcelona, other than hanging out on the rumblers, to go down and do some PR with the sailing press about Pensacola?
No.
What would be the dollar value? What do you keep in your back pocket in terms of that logo being on the sail?
So it's a good question. I didn't spend too much time on the Romulus. I was too worried about all the stories of them chasing off tourists. But no, we number one, I mean, that it's so obvious and noticeable. I mean, it's just cool to see every time they go by and you see Pensacola, Florida, and you think about this is a worldwide sport. And yeah, all I kept thinking to myself is, man, I'd love to get the Google Analytics of how many people are searching Pensacola from Barcelona. You know, like, what is Pensacola, Florida, or whether they've heard of it or not, because it's so prominent on there. I know, I probably have to ask American Magic what they see as the market value for that. But what I'll tell you, when you look at the lease that we have, is our expectation is that we continue to be, that part of the value of them being here is the worldwide awareness that they're here. And so you saw us, we negotiated as part of the lease that we're going to have increasing in-kind sponsorship amounts through the duration of the lease, that we're not putting up funds, but it would say, hey, this year we get $250,000 of sponsorship, and then $300,000. I have to go back and look exactly, but because I think that's so valuable to us, whether it's on the sale, whether it's any other ways that they proactively market. It's not just about getting a lease rate from them and them being here. It's about how do we maximize the value of their presence. And I think being on the sale is a huge way to do that. That obviously started taking place before, with TDC and Collier Merrill and others before I got here. But it's something that we certainly want to maintain. And so even our lease is kind of written about trying to continue to have, to maximize every chance that we have to bring awareness to the city.
So, Mayor, excuse me, let me rewind here. That logo is on the sale now because the city gave an in-kind contribution to the effort?
No, the arrangement of why it's on the sale now preceded the lease. You'd have to ask TDC. I don't know the details of, but what we're saying is, in the future, we wanted to ensure, whether it's on the sale, whether it's anything else, we wanted to ensure that as their partner, it is tangible in black and white that we continue to be overt partners with them. Whether that's on the sale, whether that's on another boat, whether that's, there's lots of different marketing opportunities. But the point is, we negotiated kind of a bank account, and I mean specific to the city, kind of a bank account within their marketing efforts, their sponsorship efforts, that will help us continue to have that type of presence, not just specific to the sale. Because again, the sale, that negotiation preceded me and wasn't part of the city. But my point was, we want to make sure, that's something we don't control. When we have a lease with them, the city has some control, and we wanted to make sure that we continue to be partners with them in some form.
Mayor, the ship funds became an issue as you were heading out of town.
Yep.
There was some complaints about how Escambia County's using them.
Mm-hmm.
You've been away for 2 weeks. What are your thoughts?
Well, look, I think there's the philosophy of using ship funds for housing, which we all very much agree on, and we have no issues on being as proactive as we can to get the dollars out the door. I think there's no problem with that. I believe we were missing some clarity as it pertains to the agreement we have with the county. Again, the anecdotal example is there was ads running in the paper that had my name on them on plans that I didn't see, as an example. Look, that happens, right? I mean, I don't think there's any, there's not one iota of nefariousness or that was the goal, but I think that's a microcosm of the miscommunication of, hey, if we're partners in this and you're taking all of the ship funds and then you're taking them on behalf of the city, and then we're supposed to be working together, we shouldn't wake up one morning and say, well, the money's gone. Like, there should just be an increased communication. So it's not a question of, do we think the county's using them right or wrong, or the city's using them right, or we have better ideas than them, but we're getting a little bit further away from the spirit of the agreement than I'd like. And so I in no way am I saying, oh, well, then we just definitely aren't going to do it. I think we need to it's up next year, that agreement. And I think we need to look at that and make sure that there's the clarity on all sides. And I think that helps the city, and I think it helps the county. I mean, it's an old agreement. I don't know how much it's been modified. Maybe it's 10 or 15 years old. I'd have to go look. And things change. Where were we in affordable housing 15 years ago versus today? So I don't fault anybody or think that the county doesn't want to work with the city. I think we all have the same goal in mind. We just need to do a little bit better on communication on all sides, and I'm pretty confident that we can get there. Brian's showing me something. Yeah, come on.
Okay.
Oh, nice. Okay, thanks. Appreciate the reminder. Brian always does a great job with the supplier development exchange, working with government buyers. How long y'all been doing this, Brian?
About 7 years now.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it's been a while. Yeah, I've been to it a couple times. September 10th, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Sanders Beach. We get questions all the time, intermittently. How do we bid on something with the city? How do we bid on something with the county? How do we, work with your government? And I know that Deidre in purchasing department is an active participant with this, and so we'll have city staff there, I'm sure, and they do a great job with it. So folks that are out there that want to, work with the city or ask about contracts and how do you get involved, this is probably the best one-stop shop in our community to do it. So September 10th, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Sanders Beach. Thanks for bringing that and giving me the heads up. Anything else? All right, I'll see you guys next week.